Okay then. Well, here we are, yet another fun day in Florida. Do 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 do. But yes, here we go. I'm trying to find this thing because I'm so professional here, so professional. But yeah, I know. I remember earlier seeing Brian Niemeyer repost a bit about like how some story crafting works and how you have to have an outline. And that's true. Like for me, the main story is already outlined, like the beginning, middle, end, that sort of thing. Now, most of it is just a general outline with a couple of bullet points, like here's where this character is going to encounter this, or this is where this is going to develop. Um, but I can understand what he means by that versus like free form kind of writing. Like you don't let people freeform write because then you'll end up, getting off base. And yeah, that is definitely true up to a point. Like if you have your main overall story already plotted out, you can have a little bit more freeform and wiggle room for other things if you want to explore a little bit of side content with the characters, because then you can plot it to where it'll tie back into the main storyline for that particular book or that particular plot line. Um, it's yeah, basically I still go back to Babylon 5 for the approach to even how I'm writing my books. You have a lot of stuff pre-planned, but not to the but I don't want to do it to the point where I'm stuck in like this is endless world building mode, which is a bit different. It's like I don't get down to every single little detail everywhere. I might have a few lines about certain things in case I ever decide to bring it up in the story, like other aspects of Earth. Now, a few of my readers want to be like, yes, we know that that it's like America, fuck yeah, yeah, which yeah, America does play a bit of a part in it, but even right now, even though the president and his symbiote and Aether are a little bit on the side at the moment, it's because that's really gonna kick in once like season 2 starts, but you kind of like lay the foundation for it because even Babylon 5 did this to where yeah, you had some payoffs in season 1, but then it did some hooks that didn't play out until like say season 3 or even season 4. That's how well plotted out in advance the main overall narrative story arc was for Babylon 5. Of course, he had to make exceptions for, like, say, if an actor or actresses, like, left, which, Talia, goodbye. Dang it, we'll never really see your actual resolution, but we could see seeds of how it would have been, resolved with Kosh being a naughty boy and recording her personality and kind of responses to that data, cube or whatever it was that Mr. Sunspot recorder gave him. Pesky little Vorlon that he is. But yeah, Draco's bringing up a good point here. It's like, how much do you world build? And yeah, I'm not gonna be like compulsive, like everywhere's got to be built up like Sanderson does, because I do kind of know where a lot of my strengths lie, and I'm working to brush up some of my writing weaknesses. And that it'll develop over time, but it's up to you as the writer. The only thing I can really keep saying is keep writing. You can't get techniques and other things in your toolbox unless you just sit down and write. Some people will want to build up every little aspect of their world, I guess to make it seem like it's more lived in. But I've noticed even with the pulps, like you can line up a few little things, and as long as you stay consistent within that world setup, you don't have to dive into an ocean of like explaining everything. You can let the reader make inferences, or you can just let them dream up some stuff and just have an overall main plot thread to follow. And this is just how I am as I get older. again is because it does a sense of like I want to get a full story, and it's much easier for me to say read a pulp length thing where it's like 250 pages, and I can usually still read something that length within a day or two. Because right now, yeah, time is of the essence. We have to get the wonder to the people. And he does make a remark that there's different levels of views on stuff. Like, yeah, even Uplift Protocol, like some issues will have the standard amount of views I expect, and some issues, like a robot or something, got a hold of the one issue where the guys are in the heart of heaven, and they have to handle that situation with a particular oopsie daisy brood mother type of setup, and it's like some algorithm got a hold of it, and it has, God, what was it? It's over like 2,400 views now. It, in comparison to everything else, it catapulted, and then everything else usually has anywhere between like 25 to 45 views right now. The main hub for the whole thing has like almost 500 views. So, because people are constantly coming back to check in and to see if something's been updated, that sort of thing. So I kind of expect that. But certain issues, especially if they involve the Bardaxians or adorable dog action, will have on average about 10 more views than most of the other issues. Because people, it's like, we need more awesome uplifted dog action. Brave canines taking the battle to the bad guys. It's just a thing. And I think sometimes some people like to reread favorite sections of a story. Like, I do that too. And I also made sure for the blog itself that I disabled the ability where my clicks on it would add to the view count, because I want to get a more accurate idea of like, okay, how many people are following along with the story. And yeah, I would say now I probably have about 15 people that will look at an initial release, and then I'll have like a smattering of readers that'll read in sections where they'll read a couple issues at a time, that sort of thing. So based on what I can see in patterns and everything, yeah, this story has about 40 readers now. So there you go. I think that's a nice bit of growth, because I've looked at some other stuff. Like, some people are saying, yeah, the first book releases, especially if you don't have any kind of springboard for it, if you get like 100 sold copies, that's a pretty good day from what some are saying in the marketing and other spheres. So I'm like, that, and none of my readers are family members. That in itself is also a bit of a social proof. Not that my family wouldn't have a particular taste in these books. Like, my dad would most likely read it because he does enjoy science fiction and fantasy. But he also told me he didn't want to take a look at it because he didn't want, his own biases to infer on what I'm doing. So, that's understandable. Because sometimes it's best not to have family take a look at your work, just because they're already invested in your corner, usually. Yeah. What else? Here, let me pause this, see if I can bring up any kind of other fun remarks for today. Oh, yeah. I'm taking a look at Mr. Niemeyer's input right here. Yeah, friends don't let friends discovery write. Which, yeah, for me, discovery writing is a little bit different from freeform, because freeform usually for me is like just that bit of wiggle room where if I want to go off in an interesting direction with a character, the basic skeleton of the story is there to support it, and then you can still have that long line of road, even if it winds and twists, that will tie it back into the main plot. Which, yeah, is definitely useful for creating a story if you want to go about it that way. And yeah, he went with the example from somebody else saying like Attack on Titan, why that's so well regarded. They were fully outlined from the start. They knew where they're going to begin and where they're going to end. It allowed the writer to do amazing things, and it's kind of like similar for Babylon 5. Like, not to say that completely complete discovery writing is completely bad, but I have a feeling discovery writing is better for like maybe poems and certain kinds of shorter fiction, possibly, because it's not tying into an overall like a narrative or storyline that you're building up. Because interconnected storyline does require some foreshadowing. Um, I do have some basic foreshadowing throughout these books, and it keeps building on itself. But it's also important later when you're ready to launch everything out in the wild blue yonder that you do eventually get the editing required, because editors will spot like, oh hey, you brought this up early in the story but never really brought any kind of resolution to it, or like this is like a hanging dead end. And for Babylon 5, yeah, that's why Straczynski had those write outs for in case he lost the actor or actress to something, which, you know, a good example is even what happened with Sinclair. You know, he was still able to bring him back to fulfill his role as Valen and close out a few particular plot lines. But with a book, you don't have to really worry about that as much. You, the writer, you can steer your ship along your map and then hit the pit stops that you need to hit for the narrative to keep the plot moving forward. Even I'd have to reread some of it, but I think even the Sherlock Holmes books had ties back to each other every once in a while, or mentions. Even though that's a more serial, you know, kind of like discovery of the week kind of setup, sometimes, you know, even that world had to have its own internal consistency. So, yeah, I would say you will eventually pick up a lot of these things as long as you keep writing. Um, don't wait for some sort of inspiration to strike you. If you have the story already built, all you got to do is be like, hero pokes this, villain pokes that. You know, the clashes between those two simple things will usually propel a plot up. Can't talk today. A plot forward. Yes, there we go. And yeah, even though it's a simple thing, you know, that's what some modern books are missing, because that's why you got a bunch of characters sitting around a table, talk, eat, talk, 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 eat, talk, talk, talk. You know, that does not propel anything forward. Character development, plot, anything else like that. If you're gonna have like little moments, then have little moments. But most of the time, to me at least, you know, Paul pulls this off very well. Like, they'll still have character development, but they won't take pages to do it. Sometimes it can just take a couple of lines. Readers are pretty smart enough to fill in some of the gaps. Trust your readers to fill in gaps, you know. They don't have to have everything explained to them. Like, sometimes there's a sense of wonder in just, like, having wild-ass guesses about stuff. That's the reason why you'll see most of Unity's stuff filtered through all of its minions. You don't have to put down every little thing for the ultimate evil in your universe if you don't want to. If you want to have an avatar for the ultimate evil, or have it work through agents, you can do that. If you want to have the heroes have, you know, lots of mentors that help, you know, explain certain aspects of the universe, and then you can expand upon that through just little bits here and there. You don't have to front load everything all at once. Even as I'm rereading The Hobbit and everything else, yeah, Tolkien did explain a few things here and there, but he also let people discover it through the characters too. You know, past histories and things like that through a couple of lines, but the characters didn't go into a couple page diatribe of like, I am son of Hathmore, and, and like, it, no, he basically did all the exposition in spurts. Probably the longest exposition he did was when Bilbo was talking about hobbits, you know. But he really wanted to get across just how, everyday kind of just setups the hobbits have, because the status quo is about to change, and then boom, you get into this whole setup of adventure, and then you realize just how much the reason why Frodo and Sam missed the Shire, which makes the sacking of the Shire all that more like oof. The movie versions really did have to cut out a couple very vital things, so I do recommend that you read Lord of the Rings. Just saying. But yeah, let me see if there's anything else that's fun to say about discovery writing. Well, I did find something. Even discovery writers need a damn outline. By Mia Mans. That's right, I said it. Y'all discovery writers need to sit your asses in your desk chairs and write a damn outline. Probably the number one question new writers ask about creating a daily writing practice and penning their first manuscript, writing their first book, whether or not to start with an outline. Most budding novelists have written before, essays in school, etc. So, yeah, it does come down to it, like whether or not you're primarily, fly by the seat of your pants or an outliner. There is some aspect of, when you're plotting out a story, you need at least a basic outline to be where, like, okay, I'm here, how do I get this character over here, where it makes internal consistency with the plot. Okay, yep, got it. Yeah, so yeah. Planners should try to write a manuscript from the seat of their pants, see what happens, and pantsers should take a stab at writing an outline once. If it's not the process for you, if it doesn't work, you do you. But yeah, I would have to agree with this. Yeah, writing really isn't an interpretive dance. It's just like running, where you're training your mind and your body to do certain things, and it's not bad to look at some basic techniques. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It means there's people that have walked that path before, and there's just certain things that really do work to grab a reader and get their butt in the seat and turning the pages. And yeah, basic story structure. There's the setup, the response, the attack, the resolution. Yeah, the back and forth. This is not bad. It's not a bad thing. There's a reason why this is there. And depending on how long your series runs, you're going to go back and forth through this story structure as you build up things and then resolve things in other books. Like, that's the reason why I have a set beginning, middle, and end. Like, I will do, again, like I've said, that Bardaxian side series, that for sure, that is happening. That will be a thing. But yeah, the main bulk of the series, I'm not going to have it run forever. I think I've gotten to the point where even longer running series, yeah, there, I can count on one hand how many books I'll really like. Okay, I'm going to dig in. I'm going to keep going because I'm invested. But this is also an offshoot of basically setting things up to where the whale readers have something constantly to go back to. Because with whale reading, you're constantly just in a cycle of, okay, where's the next book? Okay, where's the next book? Okay, yeah. I'm going to start getting myself a little bit away from that and seeing how that will affect my ability to be like, okay, I'm going to just sit down and relax, and I'm going to just not try to keep up with the Joneses. And you know what? Some old style pulps make that easier. I can see why some of them had like longer running 6 or 7 book series, but each of those series, like the book was maybe 200 to 250 pages. So that's still altogether a lot of pages when you add it all up, but it's in more bite-sized, manageable chunks. So yeah, regardless of what you do with writing, it's always a good idea to have a bit of an outline. it doesn't have to be like super, intense or basically flooded with detail like what Sanderson does. That's just how he writes. You won't know how you write until you start writing. Have a good day, everybody.